Well, this week on the official Leeds United podcast, we're joined by goalkeeper Karl Darlow. We're going to discuss the art of goalkeeping, dealing with the set plays and the new long throws, and where he would like to go for 24 hours on vacation. Karl, you enjoyed it?
Yeah, I've had a brilliant time. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're the first one that's ever said that.
So make sure you listen and watch through your usual podcast app, YouTube, and the Leeds United website.
What on earth chose when you were a youngster that you want to be a goalkeeper?
I loved playing in goal. I loved throwing myself at the ball, and I loved, just hitting the deck and making saves. So
Too good looking to be a centre back, isn't it?
Absolutely.
when you've not played and you get dotted in and out, because I think then you probably play a bit more safety, where you'd be like, okay, the defenders can deal with that, because I don't want to get involved in case it's just a completely wrong decision. That's it, you're last man. More often than not, you make a mistake, it's in the back of the net. So that responsibility is so massive that you really don't think about it too much in goal, because you wouldn't cope.
If you could swap your life for somebody else for one day, who would it be?
Probably a golfer, I think.
Yes.
You face him every day. Who's the best finisher, in your opinion, at the club?
Well, welcome to the official Leeds United podcast with me, Michael Bridges, and Stuart Dallas. Today we're going to be joined by Karl Darlow to chat about his life on and off the pitch. But before we do, Stu, it's our favourite little part before we get started. 2 lies and 1 truth about Karl Darlow. So you ready?
Go on.
Because I've been terrible at these, by the way.
You haven't got one right yet.
All right, cheers, pal. Thank you. I've never drank coffee in my life. I've never eaten chocolate, or I've never been on a roller coaster. So over to you. What do you think?
He's definitely had chocolate.
Got to have. Absolutely. I mean, if he hasn't, we're going to have to
Roller
interrogate
coaster.
him.
He has kids. I know his kids are young. He's bound to have been on a roller coaster.
You reckon?
What do you think?
Well,
I don't think he drinks coffee.
Keepers must always drink coffee because they go out early. So to get them lively and get them up for a session, it keeps me going.
Yeah,
so
if you're old. And
he's got to have eaten chocolate, but I know something about him, right, that I've found out from somebody else, which I'll come to later. So I'm going to suggest that because of that fear of something else, he's going to be scared and he's going to have a fear of roller coasters.
Really?
So I'm going to go for the roller coaster one. He's never been on a roller coaster.
I'll go opposite just so you can win one.
Right.
I'll go, he doesn't drink coffee.
He doesn't drink coffee. Right, okay. Well, without further ado, let's welcome our guest, Karl Darlow.
I can't get up. My leg's stuck. I can't get up.
Karl, welcome. Good to see you, pal.
Thanks for having me.
Did you hear the
I did,
2 lies
yes,
and 1
I
truth?
did.
Can you put us out of our misery and explain why?
Stuart Dallas was right.
Am I?
Yeah.
I actually didn't know that.
You stitched me up again.
He
by the
has.
way.
swear I
Do you know what he's
didn't.
done? I've driven in here.
Yeah.
And I've got a message from WhatsApp. Do you want a coffee? On my life.
No,
Swear
yeah.
on my life. Have
Yeah,
you not
no,
just,
yeah, no,
have you not
no,
just messaged me
no.
asking if I wanted a coffee?
That's a
Yes.
lie because he's never bought anybody coffee in his life. He's the tightest man I've ever
he's
met.
seen the
Liar.
questions, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm the one that brings the coffee in here, but I honestly didn't know that. I was just trying to
Bridget,
think
he's
back
stitching
from
you
the
up.
time when I was with you, if you drunk coffee.
That's fair play. You've done
But
it
I've tried not to. I just said, no, I'm all good,
Just
mate.
not
This
having-
morning,
not
thank
having
you.
it, no?
No, I've never touched a coffee in my life. So
The chocolate one would have been weird.
yeah, chocolate.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's a daily occurrence.
So, Juan, you seem to know a bit of inside info.
Yeah,
about
I do
somebody
actually,
that-
yeah.
Yeah, this is worrying. This
Well,
is worrying.
I've actually brought my pet dog along. I've brought my dog Victor in to meet you.
Have you? Nice. Bring him in.
Yeah, bring him in. You scared of dogs?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm not scared to see a picture of a dog. I just don't like being around them. And that goes back to probably when I was young, my brother got bitten by a dog and I was right next to him when he got bit. And ever since then, I've kind of steered away from him a little bit. And yeah, it's another strange fact about me.
Well, there you go. Because I was a bit worried because I'm a dog lover. I'm allergic to cats.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And so, yeah. When I saw the dog and I was a bit upset, I thought, I know you. I like you.
Yeah, no,
That was a touchy one
I've got
for
no
me.
problem with dogs. I'm just not, I'm not the most familiar with them.
Fair enough. Well, moving on, we'd like to start off. We're going to get to know obviously more about you today. Your journey into football, what motivates you, experience at club at Leeds United so far, mate, and obviously your journey away from the club for international and how it all started. But before we do, we'd love to start with quick fire questions.
Okay.
All right. Favourite teammate that you share laughs with?
Favourite teammate I share laughs with? I'd probably go DJ and Ethan.
I told you. Childish.
The connection.
Yeah, it's childish, very childish.
Two childish lads, eh?
One song that gets you in the zone before a game.
It differs. It depends what mood I'm in. Sometimes I'll go really calm and like a bit more country, and then other days I'll be on house music. So I haven't got a set song where I'll go.
You're like me, just across all genres.
Having said that, at the end of last season, we had Jerry Cinnamon Cantor on before every single game. The last 10 games, I think it was, and got us over the line.
But it's got a meaning though, hasn't it? Like, you don't have him on in December, do you?
No,
it's more like
in the mood.
Got to be in the mood, sunshine.
Well, this is meant to be quick fire, so we'll get on to the next one. We chatted about podcasts before off the air.
Yeah.
Obviously, you said your favourite one was the official Leeds United podcast.
Yeah.
So your guilty pleasure TV show. Give us something I need to watch.
TV show. I'm going to go with Peaky Blinders, and there's a movie coming out, isn't there?
Watched it.
You've seen it? It's not out yet.
I mean, this might be a little bit dated when it comes out, but what a movie!
You've seen the movie?
Of course, I have.
Is it out?
Yeah.
It's not out yet.
It is out.
It's out on the 20th.
It was out in Whitley Bay, the Jam Jar. I'll give them a massive plug. It's been shown previews. There's only certain cinemas around the country were giving the preview. It's unbelievable.
It was on at the cinema.
I was worried it was going to kill it, but yeah, tremendous.
It was good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm happy with that answer then.
Right.
That's free cinema tickets again for me. Champion. If you weren't a footballer, famous Peter Crouch thing, if you weren't a footballer, what would you be doing?
I honestly don't know. I was always so set on making it as a footballer that I've never given anything else any thought whatsoever, which is a bit strange again, but I think I was so zoned into being a footballer. I think had I not made it, I would have just switched elsewhere into something else and gone full gas on that instead.
I've had some mad answers. Like we had Dustbin Man, we had a school teacher,
really?
chef.
Dustbin Man.
Yeah. Who was it? Was it Ethan?
Anton?
No, I think it was Ethan. I think it was Amp.
Can't remember who it was. Yeah, wanted to be a bin man.
But a very good laugh with it, like so.
I usually asked about your most underrated part of your game, but I think because you're a goalkeeper, it's quite hard, that isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I'll go with the best piece of advice you've ever received.
Oh, like it.
We'll get on to the worst part in a bit.
God, I haven't even got an answer for you for that. Best piece of advice. I think probably, I don't even know who said it to me, was being consistent through highs and lows of football. Basically, no matter if you'd won 3 or 4-0 or if you'd lost 4 or 5-0, especially in the goalkeeping position, that you have to be so consistent with your mindset and the mentality. I think that's probably an advice that I've always gone to. If it's been a bad game, okay, keep yourself steady, keep yourself level-headed and move on to the next one. And yeah, likewise, if you've just won a game or you had a brilliant game, keep yourself consistent and level-headed. But I can't for the life of me remember who said that to me.
Do you remember yours?
I think it was Stu. I think Stuart Darlow said it to me.
Your best bit of advice? You said it on one previous episode.
I always remember Marcelo saying about be better today than yesterday, but not as good as tomorrow.
Because I keep taking, I've got this little
quotes.
notebook now with Stewie's quotes, because he comes out on each episode with some absolute
I don't
I
don't come out with them, but that to me is just like stuck with me since then, and it's something you try and tell the kids, and just about continuing to improve every day.
How old are you?
34.
34, so I'm 47. I'm taking quotes of you because we call him the grandad. He's just wired different.
It's not, I just
taking
like
a duck to water to his new job,
He
hasn't
talks
he?
about eating biscuits and stuff like that.
Got a good one for you 2 years, actually. I know it's quick fire for you. If you could swap your life for somebody else for one day, who would it be? That's a new one, this. I like it.
Probably a golfer, I think.
Yes.
Let's go Brooks Koepka.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like him.
He's great on full swing.
Yeah. He's very much, he seems to not give a F about anything and turns up at the majors and seems to produce. Not so much lately, obviously, but I think when he was in his prime, I think, a day in his life would have been, that's pretty good.
Fair play.
Who are you going with?
I don't know. Not somebody who's famous. I couldn't be bothered with all the
just for one day. One day.
It's only one day, Stu.
Oh, one day?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Sorry, I misheard that there.
So he doesn't even listen to us when I'm talking now. Do you want Emma back?
Yeah, probably a golfer, yeah.
We've just been talking about you having the shanks as well.
I know. Yeah, probably McElroy or somebody. Just do what you want.
To see what it's like to hit one off the sweet spot every now and again.
Yeah, I've never had that. Yeah, McElroy, I'd go Northern Ireland.
It's funny of all gone golfers because every golfer that I speak to always says that they'd love to be, or that are football fans, they all want to be footballers for a day as well. It's mad. And they say they're very lonely on tour. Because they're individual, and when they have a bad day, they can't hide behind anybody else on the team.
That's why I picked it for a day.
Yeah. Fair enough. Right, and last one. If you could eat only one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
This will be the healthiest meal you've ever heard.
Absolutely.
It will not.
He loves his chocolate.
I think I'd just go pizza. Because at least I can change the toppings then.
You're a pizza fan, aren't you?
Yeah, I love it. I'm partial to Domino's on a Saturday evening.
I've got to hide my boxes.
And a Monday and a
I've got to hide
Tuesday.
my boxes from the missus nowadays. Retirement's not going so well. Right, getting away from the quick fire, then moving on. I'm going to talk about your career. I'm going to be fascinated here today, Karl, because obviously being an outfield player like me and Stuart, I think obviously goalkeepers, different mentality, and I want to tap into that psyche today as well. But what on earth chose when you were a youngster that you wanted to be a goalkeeper? Did you decide you were going to be, or was it one of these that was decided for you? And how did it all start, mate?
Yeah, it's funny. I was texting you last night about it, wasn't I? And it said, originally I signed at Aston Villa in an academy at 7 years old and was signed as a centre-back. And I played like you do at that age. You go in goal now and again. And I think quite quickly they realised he's quite fearless in goal. He makes a lot of saves, and obviously I was half decent with my feet from playing outfield. So I loved playing in goal. I loved throwing myself at the ball, and I loved, just hitting a deck and making saves. So the fact that I was good at it, they then went on to offer me a contract that next year as a goalkeeper, and that's it. From there,
I said he's too good looking to be a centre back. Absolutely, coming up against one of your stray elbows. But
I never challenge for no aerial things, mate.
Yeah, I think obviously it's a different skill set being a keeper, isn't it? Because it's obviously reflexes, stuff like that. But in terms of like reading the game and organising, is that something you've always been from a young age? Because as a goalkeeper, you have to be able to communicate.
I think reading the game comes a lot more as you get older. Almost you see the game differently, and again, with playing games, you almost build on that week in, week out. I always say that's the hardest thing that comes to goalkeepers when you've not played in a while. That ball straight over the top is so hard to judge because you've not seen it in so long and you can't really train it. So judging when you can come out, when you can't, and then when you're in a flow of playing game after game, it's like second nature to you. It comes straight away. So it's different when you've not played and you get dotted in and out, because I think then you probably play a bit more safety where you'd be like, okay, the defenders can deal with that because I don't want to get involved in case it's just a completely wrong decision. So I think you err on the side of safety a bit more when you're dotted in and out, but when you're in a run of games, it's it seems to come a lot more effortlessly.
So you're playing centre half and you went to goalkeeper and you realised that you had something different and a bit of an advantage because you could play out, as you were saying, with the feet. Reading the game, understanding the game, and seeing it as a goalkeeper making that mistake as a kid, how it's highlighted more than so if you're a centre half making that mistake. Was there any experiences from a young age where you were like, oh, maybe this isn't right for me, or was there something that you went, well, this is? No,
I just loved it. I just loved it. Like from the get go, I loved it. But like you say, I think playing centre half, you still got another line of defence behind you. Goalkeeper, that's it, your last man. More often than not, you make a mistake, it's in the back of the net. So there's that air of responsibility. And again, they say every goalkeeper's a bit strange and a bit weird. And that's probably...
You're probably one of the most normal I've
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
I've got a voucher for that as well. Yeah. You and Shay Given.
Yeah, Shay's very level-headed as well, yeah. But I think that probably in your brain, that thought of that responsibility is so massive that you really don't think about it too much in goal because you wouldn't cope. But there must be something from every single goalkeeper that wants that responsibility and wants to be, have the whole sides more times than not the result or saving a goal on their shoulders, and I think that's it's either hero or zero, isn't it? So you have to have some sort of mentality to be able to deal with that in goal.
And I don't know if you've been around any of the younger age groups training at Thorpe Arch or anything, but now when I see them training the goalkeepers, and you know, when they're playing in the little games, they're encouraging them to step out on the ball and be brave. And was it like that when you were coming through, or was it a matter of just
keep the ball out of the net? Keep the ball out of the net. No, there's a lot of technical stuff in terms of goalkeeping sessions, handling and footwork, and you probably see still now in my game, my footwork is what I'd say is one of the big things for me in terms of getting into a position where I can make a step and make an explosive dive or whatever it might be. But that's been ingrained in me since I was young through the academy days, and probably the nerdy bit of detail that goalkeepers see that outfield players probably wouldn't see.
That's what I was going to say. Obviously, we had a laugh earlier about the most underrated part of your game, but I think people don't see that now as a goalkeeper. You know, people just see either not making a save or making a save, oh, we should have made that. But I think the attention to detail now and feet work is a massive part of, especially at the highest level, it's a massive part of being a goalkeeper. So
and we talked about his experience and knowledge of being able to talk and organise that line in front of you as well. That's one thing. Obviously, growing up in that goalkeeping position, we've had a few lads on the podcast where we all talk about the knockbacks in life. We talked about, one of your things was scared of being on a roller coaster, which was a lie. That's the one I went for, but I call football a roller coaster. Obviously, you said you were at the academy at Aston Villa.
Yeah.
And that's 16. How did you handle that at a young age, and what did it give you to carry on?
I'll be honest, it was a bit of a shock to me because I'd almost coasted through that academy system where I'd gone contract, got to 15 and they said, no, we're not going to offer you a scholarship, which at the time I was kind of a bit taken back by, but I still had the thought in my head, and going back to the question you said earlier, right, where's the next? Where can I go next? And thankfully, the goalkeeping coach at Aston Villa recommended me to the goalkeeping coach at Nottingham Forest, which is obviously the next part of my journey, where I went in for a trial.
Was this Eric Steele?
Yeah, Eric Steele, and then Steve Sutton at Nottingham Forest. So
you have Sutty there?
Yeah, I had Sutton for years.
Big Sut.
Yeah, Sutton was brilliant for me. He's pretty much what my core of goalkeeping, I'd say now, is all from pretty much what he did with me at that young age. And
that's why he's normal. He's had such a good grounding from Sutty, because he was class.
So I had Suts, and thankfully Suts took me on and progressed through that academy system to become the number one a few years later. Obviously I had a couple of loans in there where I went to Newport and then Walsall, but again, not many games. And I came back, and I think it was in January from Walsall, and I played a few games, and then they decided to stick with me for the rest of that season. And then from there I just carried on and was
your
number
debut,
one.
was it against Palace?
Palace was when I was 18. I think I came on for Lee Camp, the last game of the season in the Championship before the playoffs, and I was best man at Campy's wedding. So I'm still best mates with him now, and I think he did it for me at the time. He pretended he had a problem with his ankle, came off for the last 10 minutes, and I got on the pitch and I was like, wow, here we go. And
so that timing for you was crucial, actually. That's kind of fate happened at the right time and went under the wing of the two good coaches, eh?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And getting in at Forest was, again, a man of a massive club. And I think I was 21 or 22 probably when I was made number one, and for me that was such a big deal at such a big club that still had aspirations of the Premier League at that time. And I'm forever grateful for the grounding that I got at Forest.
I just want to take you back to obviously your loan moves, because I just find it interesting, because obviously I had a loan move as well, and I know you didn't play that much, but how much did that benefit you, just going from a bigger club till, no disrespect, till a lower league club? And things change, because at the bigger clubs you have a lot more done for you, whereas when you go to a lower league club you have to then
sometimes wash your own kit.
Yeah, do things for yourself. There's not as big a infrastructure behind the club to help you deal with certain scenarios. How beneficial was that in your development as well? Yeah,
it was really beneficial. I think when I went to Newport, I was 20 and they had 8 games left of the season and they were in a relegation fight. And going there and seeing what it meant to the players around me more than anything, that this is their job, this is their livelihood. If they got relegated, potentially they'd be part-time working, and at such a young age, it really like opens your eyes to see, oh wow, this is what football's like at this level, and this is what it means to people. And to get in there, and I can't remember, I kept 4 or 5 clean sheets in the 8 games. I think I did well, and I was just really pleased for not only myself, but pleased that we managed to survive that season. And the lads that had been around me that were on this money were staying on that money rather than it being halved or whatever and having to go part-time. So it meant a lot to me at that time in terms of, wow, this is like real world. Do you know?
And does that make you appreciate things more now because you're playing obviously at the highest level?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think you can ever take it for granted where you've got to or what you've done throughout your career. I think every level on every team that I've been at, I've worked so hard to maintain being at that club or being in a position to play. And yeah, that's a big thing for me, that if I'm at a club, I'm giving it my all. And the motivation for myself is to push people around me and make sure that the club's at the best possible place it can be, and that I'm at the best possible place I can be.
Well, that was one of the hardest things that we had to deal with at Leeds United in the year when we're losing the money, when you seen the canteen staff,
absolutely,
everybody around the club losing their jobs. And then obviously the fish tank was the moment where it was the light bulb moment, thinking we're going from Champions League football to nothing, and it's the people that you see every day of your life that are not there certain days, apart from the players around you. When it hits home as to what's going on, it's like you say, that was when you've survived, and you see the galvanises everybody together, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Your move came to Newcastle United in that season that established when you championship. Yeah?
Yeah.
And you got yourself there. Obviously that was, you've done it before with Newcastle United. How much did that help you with the season last year here at Leeds United to calm? Were you calm and influence because you'd been there and done it before?
Yeah, I'd hope so. Yeah, I'd hope so. The year we did it with Newcastle, we had a really, really good team. I think
we had some good clean sheets as well that year.
Yeah. We had Rafa as manager, didn't we, the year we went up? So it was something that I look back on, like you say, last season. I think, I've been here, I've done this before, and I know how to get over the line, kind of thing. So it was nice to be able to fall back on that, but it almost felt a bit different here. It felt like Newcastle, I always felt we were going to do it. Here, it almost felt like, right, we've got to do it here, because the year before, obviously, losing at Wembley felt like such a big hit. And then going into the season after with, again, such a good squad and such a good group of lads. But we got so close the year before, we did not want to be in the playoffs again and have to go through all that again. We had to finish first or second. And I can't remember what I played. Did I play 8 games at the end of last season? 7 or 8 games?
You came at the key time of the season.
And it just felt like, we need to get this done. We can't afford to be in the playoffs, and thankfully we did. And
did it almost feel like from the outside looking in, people were wanting and waiting for Leeds to fail? Was that the difference between here and Newcastle? Because that's what I feel. I feel like, I suppose everybody's against you whenever you play for this club. It's like the famous song, Leeds are falling apart again. And did you feel like that when you were here more than at Newcastle? Obviously, Newcastle's they're a huge club, and we'll get on to that as well. Obviously, how much playing under them fans, helped you deal with. You talked about your experience on the pitch, and you were able to fall back on that last year, but off the pitch, being able to deal with the expectations as well. Huge club, Newcastle, and coming here, you felt like you were well equipped to deal with that. Yeah,
absolutely. I think, like you said, that it's a big club up there and it's a big club here. I think there's the fact that when I was at Newcastle, it almost felt, like I said, that we were going to get there. Whereas here, it almost felt like, we have a blip and we might not get there. And then, like you say, the pressure comes from it.
Feel the expectations.
Pressure. From inside, from the crowd, from every other club that hates Leeds. Let's have it right. So it felt almost as if we went internally into the changing room of going bang, 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 game after game. And
you've got to have a siege mentality.
We almost got into that mindset, which got us through and went on to win the last 5 or 6 games in a row, which was, done and dusted then. And it's like, okay, let's enjoy our summer.
Well, this is one of the things I want to tap into, because you said that you came in for them games at the end of the season. I used to see new players come into the football club in my position and see them as a massive threat. And I remember seeing Marvin Duke, I've talked about before. I think I saw him for a week and I was like, my God, I'm never playing for this club again. He was so good. He was off the chart. You goalkeepers, when there's like 3 or 4 of you all seem to be like a support mechanism for each other. So you used to go off and have your own patch of land on the training ground and go and warm up. And I know times have changed since then, Karl. But it was to play the support role under Melly and then to get the opportunity. The one thing that I can't get in my sight is how you all keep that close knit. And I know there's a lot more of the goalkeepers. Talk us through that mentality. I know because you've got to help each other out. You've got to support. Then you get the opportunity and you want to remain as number one. But you all seem to like have this system, the pecking order.
Yeah.
Whereas as a striker, I can't get my head around it. I'm so selfish.
Yeah, I think probably because like you say, we do work in such a tight-knit group day in, day out that you know each other so well. And when the other one's playing, it's your job to push and to do everything you can on the training ground to get. Don't get me wrong, every single player still wants to play. Like the goalkeeper still wants to play, but
you've got to keep that.
I think you respect the role because you know you've been in that position. So when you're playing in that position, you don't want anyone who's not playing behind you to be going, I don't know, trying to kill the rhythm or sabotage it. Yeah. So I've always had that respect for whoever's been playing in front of me to support and hope they do the best that they can do. But in the back of my mind, still pushing myself to the limit to play. So I just think there's a mutual respect between goalkeepers in terms of knowing what the role requires.
Is there ever any time that you've come across in your career, you personally yourself, where you've either been told off a coach, off another goalkeeper, or you've had to pull somebody else and say, listen, you're not doing your job in a way that we're meant to be together? Have you ever had any? Not so far, no, to be fair. No, not in my career that I can think of where I've been like, he's a complete whatever. Yeah. He's... I've always been in and around pretty much good groups of goalkeepers. It's almost like the goalkeeper's code, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure there are some out there, but
how does it? I'm curious to know. Like, obviously, I've just come out of a changing room, but it seems goalkeepers are a little bit different when somebody is going through a difficult patch, whether it be Elland at a stage, Lucas at a stage, whatever it is, and you can see. Do you put an arm around the shoulder? Obviously, because you could then be thrown in till play, but are you still putting an arm around the shoulder if you take your place in terms of like trying to help them? Because you know yourself what it feels like to be in a team and taken out of a team. You know what? Because as outfield players, goalkeepers keep themselves distant a little bit, don't they? And it can't be easy because it's quite lonely as a goalkeeper, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I've never put an arm around or said like, sorry about that kind of thing. Yeah. It's always been for me a respect again in terms of like I've had conversations. I had a conversation with them too about saying, look, I've been in that position. I know what it feels like. Blah blah blah. Just let's carry on as we are. It's not my decision, kind of thing that I've put myself into play, or so it's not their position that they've put themselves.
Chat though, yeah.
Me,
yeah. Good.
I think. I don't want any bad blood because I don't think there should be. It's not my fault that the managers put me in. It's not my fault, their fault that they put them in. So in a working environment, I feel like that respect should be there no matter what. And if you're going to have any grievances, have it with the manager, which is the way
I just think obviously
worked.
how old are you?
35, man.
35, yeah.
Are you the youngest here?
Yeah, young pup.
Yeah. But just, I'm particularly talking about Elland, obviously, because I played most of my career recently with him. I'm just thinking as he's obviously a lot younger, and we've seen his career just sort of when he come here go upwards, and then he's going through a difficult patch, and it's just interesting to hear obviously about you saying obviously
it's how you handle the tough moments in your career that make you stronger, and that's why I always talk about football being a roller coaster, whether it's injuries, whether it's not playing, whether it's changing clubs. You've got to have like an adversity, a resilience, and you've got to if you take it personally, you won't succeed. You'll get found out.
Well, I also think that's a coach's job, isn't it, over a player's job in terms of arm around the shoulder and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
I think it can be taken completely in the wrong way if I then went around and put my arm around his shoulder or whatever. They did the same to me.
You probably wouldn't like it done yourself.
Talk to me kind of thing. So
just a little bit,
Send him a love letter through the post. Sorry,
that's it.
Just in terms of obviously being a goalkeeper and you've got to bide your time, obviously. And it's different as an outfield player because usually you get a chance, quite quickly. How long do you leave it as a goalkeeper before you actually go and speak to the manager and sort of
breeze door down?
Yeah, if I wasn't playing for 4 or 5 games, whatever it was, like I would always have tried to go and speak to the manager and ask them, what can I do better? But it's different as a goalkeeper because you could literally go a full season without playing. Mm-hmm. How long do you leave it before you?
I think Hobbs about 5 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, he probably knocked on the manager's door 20 times.
Yeah,
because you've got to have patience.
You do. I think more than. Yeah, I think having the bounce through the goalkeeping coach as well helps because you almost you get vibes off of them as to where the manager's at, if you know what I mean. So you probably go to the goalie coach first and be like, do you think I've got a chance next week or so? And if they say no, you think, well, there's no point in going to see him, is there? But if he says, yeah, it might be worth going to see him, that's normally how.
Yeah.
Or you completely lose your head and you just go up there and knock on the door. Simple as that. Simple as that. You get to a point where you just think that I've had enough.
In the manager's door at a certain club close to here. The whole Tigers. I never played for the club ever again. We got a bit too feisty.
That's the truth, though, isn't it? Yeah. You get to a breaking point where you just think, well, got nothing to lose. I'm not playing. So
I offered the gaffer out. I offered Phil Brown out. I'd had enough. I said, let's get the boxing gloves on and sort this out.
What did he say?
He said, see, you're going to Sydney FC. He sent us halfway around the world to get away. Yeah, so it can go one way or another, can't it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so, we'll get on to, obviously, mistakes as part of being a goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, I thought you were going to hang him out with dry then.
We all make mistakes. I've had my fair share of them, to be fair. But as a goalkeeper, how does it affect you? You touched a little bit on it earlier, but staying consistent. But what is it like as a goalkeeper? Like because again, from my own experience, after a bad game, giving away a goal,
your mistakes are highlighted.
Losing my man from a corner, I would go home and it would eat me up into the middle of the night. I would watch the game back, watch clips back. What could I do better?
Yeah, we're all the same.
How do you?
Yeah, we're all the same. I think it's similar. I think in the moment it's horrific, isn't it? Yeah. Like, it's the worst thing that can happen on a football pitch for me in terms of letting a crap goal in. But then it's how you continue on in that game and making sure the next action is the best it can be and almost building back up. I think, especially if it happens early in a game, how can you then build back up to get to a point where you think.
But that's the thing. As an outfield player, straight away you're bang, you're straight back into the action. Yeah. Whereas a goalkeeper, you mightn't see the ball again for another 5 or 10 minutes. So it's going round.
That's why it's so hard, mate.
So it's staying focused. It depends what team. Well, I think the Premier League, the goalkeeper is the most important player. I think there's a stat that's come out based on recruitment now. The goalkeeper is the most important player in the Premier League. So yeah, it's being able to stay focused. For
Strikers Union are fuming with that. Who has brought that stat out? The Strikers Union are in turmoil.
Yeah, but just obviously you could go 5 minutes without. For me, I'm thinking that would just be playing on my head for.
Yeah, I think it's just a mindset again of what can I do to reset? Can I start shouting? Can I start organising the defence or?
You're a good communicator. That's part of your.
Try to, I try to. Yeah, I think you have to have something that you go, right, that's gone. As hard as it is, you have to move on in that moment because at the end of the day, you're playing in a football match that, say, if you're 1-0 down, you could quite easily concede again by thinking about it, or you get on with it and you might draw the game or turn the game. So we know what sport is. Mistakes are part of sport, and I think the way that you deal with it on the pitch and, like you say, after the game is probably the hardest part of making a mistake is probably the after the game where you think about it so much and it's just like, oh God, then you have to just dust it down, get back out on the training ground and go again.
Well, I'm going to move us on from the goalkeeping crack because us strikers don't want to give you too much of the limelight. Your time at Leeds United, you've nearly been here now 3 years, Carl.
Yeah.
So I remember, I think we had a good chat in your first...
We had a podcast, didn't we? Yeah, it's come on a bit since then, hasn't it?
Oh, we've moved on, mate. You say glitz and glamour now. How would you sum up your time so far in them 3 years, mate, since that last episode?
Sum it up.
Or talk us through it.
It's been incredible, hasn't it, really? That's from when I came in, the club had just been relegated, and then we go to get into the playoff final. It doesn't, like you say, the roller coaster. It has been, because we felt the lowest of lows, probably losing at Wembley in the playoff final, to then bounce back by winning the league, and then coming into a Premier League season where no team survived who's come up for the last however many years, and looking like we've got a very good chance of doing that. So it's been an incredible experience so far, and I'm just hoping we can finish this season off the way that we want to. And obviously FA Cup quarter final in there as well, which is something to be really proud of as a group.
When you were talking about coming to Leeds as part of the contract and the move, was that part of the vision as well? Was it always talked about the Premier League was the goal? When you came in?
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Nobody
coming to a club like
that.
that. No one shied away from that. But I'd been linked here a couple of times before that in different windows, and I've always thought of Leeds as a place that I think, I want to go and I can make a positive impact there. And it was something that a place that always kept cropping up in almost 3 or 4 windows before I actually came. So, it felt like there was something there that I wanted to go and see what I could achieve here.
And does, obviously, being able to achieve things on the pitch, you've got to be settled off the pitch. Obviously, you've got a family, kids.
Yeah.
Has that helped, being settled? Obviously, kids are in
Yeah,
school.
of course.
Do you feel like Yorkshire's home?
Yeah, it's with the 2 boys. Obviously, one was born in Harrogate Hospital, so it was always going to be that attachment here, and the other one was born in Newcastle. So, I think
2 kids with each promotion.
It's helped being settled with them and finding a nice area where we are. But I've loved the time that I've been here, and hopefully it continues.
Well, I think that's perfect timing, Karl, to be fair, what you've just mentioned there with your kids. We always ask each player to bring something memorable to them. So let's see what you've got and give us a show, mate.
So, I've gone with a picture from last season. Can you see that? It was Stoke at home when we won promotion back to the Premier League, and my 2 boys were mascots that day for the first time. So it seemed like, you asked for a memorable moment or something from my career, and I think from most recently, that's probably right there. The one that stands out for me. I think I couldn't have a better day, really. 2 boys mascots, we won 6-0, I think it was. Get promoted the same day, and
clean sheet. You want
clean sheet in there as well. That's the most important thing.
He was kicking me on the
It's the most important thing of the day,
absolutely.
mate, the clean sheet. So I've gone with that. So
obviously, kids are a massive family man.
They're pretty much my life at the minute. I think like it was hobbies and stuff. I played a lot of golf, obviously, when I was up in the northeast, and it seems to have slowly gone. And I think. Any time that I'm not at football, I'm pretty much playing with them or taking them somewhere. And
so you've got the support family mechanism behind you to help you settle in a lot easier as well. Yeah,
absolutely. So that's it. It's a picture that I'm proud of, and
Very
it's actually
nice.
on it's in the eldest bedroom in a minute, so I've nicked that from him today. He won't be happy.
Well, get it back before school.
Going off the back of that, sorry, Stuart, I want to say, because that obviously it's a lovely moment. That was obviously the 6-0, the clinching. I'm going to talk to you that championship promotion and the celebrations that probably lasted from the whole summer. How does that rank, and where, as part of your career, with the family, with your friends, with the players?
Well, you'd had went off to international, did you? Straight after it or not?
We went to Vegas, and then we went to internationals. Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at.
It was a tough gig, mate. I think Ethan was still hung over on internationals. But
so was it quality?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think
big moment.
The parade was just incredible, wasn't it? I think from the thousands of people that turned up, and just unbelievable. And I think the nice thing about it was no one, like in the change room, kind of expected it to be that big and be that epic. I suppose it was like something that none of us had seen before, and we all experienced it together at the same time, obviously whilst being hammered. So
I think that's obviously
didn't get much better.
And for me, it's like no matter what happens in your career now, nobody can ever take that away from you. Like that feeling, them scenes, and I watched it obviously, and it was incredible. And you deserved it. You were brilliant all season. Do you know what I mean? And as a group of lads, obviously knowing you firsthand, that it couldn't have happened to a better bunch of lads. And
just the way it happened as well. The last minute of Plymouth was just like, you couldn't write it any better, could you? I think scoring the 93rd minute or whatever it was, and it was just like
some journey back though.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Best journey anyone will ever do back from Plymouth, mate. I tell you that. God.
If there's anywhere to do it,
it's
the longest journey. That's where you want to do it.
If you'd have been flying back, I'd say, "Can we take the bus back?"
Yeah, absolutely. Just the extra cans. So was that one of the personal highlights since your move?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it has to be. And yeah, like you said, no one can take that away from any of us in terms of what we did and the experiences that we got from it that summer, and the open top bus and Vegas and everything that goes with it. It's just something that will live long in the memory.
So talking obviously of personal highlights, we've seen you a few decent saves, just a couple. What's been your favourite?
This season?
Yeah, and we'll go within a Leeds shirt, yeah.
I actually don't know.
You had a big one at Villa a couple of weeks ago, didn't you?
Yeah, that was a nice one. They've been quite different as well.
One
in a
here,
way.
Was it against
Man City?
There was one against Forest.
Two against Man City.
Just been
yeah. Was there one against Forest as well?
Yeah, a couple against Forest.
Do you keepers have saves of the months?
He says I don't have that many, and he's just rhymed off.
He knew everyone, man. He's just been humble. He knew everyone. You know what they're like. Do the keepers have saves of the month?
There is in the Premier League now, isn't there? Yeah.
Oh, you've just won one.
I didn't win one.
Did you not?
No, I was up for it, wasn't I? Was it Fulham?
Oh, Leeds fans didn't. They usually do their job, don't they? And vote for. That's
funny. Whenever Leeds plays up for Player of the Month or Manager of the Month or Goal of the Month,
yeah, they go berserk.
Even at other clubs,
love it.
Even at other clubs,
still vote for them. Yeah.
I'll have to get another one in there, and then we'll get that voted.
We should have had the clips of them so we could. I think that one at Villa was good.
Yeah, close.
What do you mean? Should have had the clips? Do I look like I'm any good at?
You should have had a highlight reel up, Bridgie, and put it on the telly, mate.
Yours would be longer.
We at least could have been professional and watched them before the podcast.
His Man City goals.
Did I score then?
Did you score?
I'm glad you mentioned it.
Big step up, Leeds United from the Championship to the Premier League. Obviously, you've been there and done it before in the past. But what have you noticed change over the last few seasons that you've been involved? Because obviously, set plays, long throws have been a completely
it feels like this season it's kind of evened itself out a little bit. Obviously, you still got. I don't know what you felt like, but when you went to the big boys, you almost felt like, okay, we're going to give it our all, but we've pretty much got no chance here. Whereas,
no, we always.
Whereas now, I feel like everywhere you feel like you've got a chance, and I don't know whether that is because the way that football's being played with more emphasis on set plays or time wasting, whatever it might be, and I feel like we've shown such a good account of ourselves in what you'd have to say is a dressing room that's not full of Premier League experience going into the season. I think you look around the squad and there probably wasn't that much Premier League experience in it. So the position that we've got ourselves into at the minute, I feel like we've done unbelievably well, and it's something that we need to go and finish off and look back on the season and say, wow, what a job we've done. And that, for me, that's the biggest motivation from now to the end of the season to finish off where we've got ourselves to and be proud of what we've achieved again.
Yeah.
And in terms, obviously, we're talking about set pieces and long throws. How has that changed for a goalkeeper? Do you feel you're being targeted more in that area?
Yeah, of course.
Feel like your starting position has to be different in terms of being more aggressive, or has anything changed for you?
It's probably been more difficult to get to the ball in terms of corners of who you've got on you. Don't get me wrong, there's always been people on you, but now there's full-on plans of what each set piece is going to look like. So if it's going back post, there might not be someone behind you, but by the time you take a step back and you're watching the ball, someone's blocking you. And I think that's probably the biggest change in terms of how they've targeted, obviously, key headers of the ball and the goalkeeper. And I wonder if the Premier League can do anything about it, because I think the way it's going, it's almost as if you can do whatever you like and it's not being penalised. Whereas
it used to be an endangered species.
I think even like years before, you get fouls for stuff that's not being given fouls for.
It's
so
almost like NFL now, where it's all like there's an art till set pieces.
Yeah, and actual plays and each plays.
Big one for me. I enjoyed doing analysis sessions that were in a time frame. I had like a 20-minute attention span. Mm-hmm. Anything that went longer than that, I was kind of used to switch off unless it was specifically for the strikers. Do you go along and do...
Need to wrap this podcast up.
I've gone 10 minutes ago. Do you go away from the analysis sessions that you do with the team? Do you go and do your own with the keeper, especially nowadays because of the set play routines?
Yeah, we do, yeah.
It's all targeted at you, isn't it?
Yeah, we do a briefing before the game, and we'll normally run down what's happened within the game as well. So before the game, we'll go in terms of where, like a pass map as to where chances have been created from in terms of where the balls come from, or any sort of trends that we might be able to see in terms of, is it first 6-yard box that most of their finishing's coming from, second 6-yard box, wider, or crosses and different bits and pieces like that. So yeah, there's a lot more analysis that goes into it, and I think we have to. I think that's where the game is at, and that's where the Premier League's at. It's at the very top of the level.
As a keeper, you can't afford to gamble now, really, can you? No. You know, I think back to obviously Anton's free kick at Villa. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable strike, incredible. But Martinez almost gambles, doesn't he, in terms of he thinks he's going to cross it, and that slight, talk about feet work, that slight little half step, it's punished. Even do you know what I mean? So you've got to do your homework now, haven't you, in terms of...
That's the difference. I think there's just the minute details. I think that's the biggest, going back to your question, the change from the Championship to the Premier League is those small details in the Premier League, they get punished because you've got people that are ruthless. And in the Championship, you might get away with a couple of small errors. Whereas
it's the elite, isn't it?
Whereas this is like, you have to be on your game every single game, and it poses a different challenge to you than what the Championship does in terms of probably physicality and the amount of games, but in terms of quality and speed, I think you can't match what the Premier League delivers.
Well, for the Premier League, what's your ambitions for the rest of the season?
Well, stay in the league and see how high we can finish within the league.
There's a massive connection here with 3 certain players at this football club. And obviously there's a connection there for myself with Craig Bellamy being your manager, which, and if you ask me who would go into management in football, there would have been Robbie Keane, Jonathan Woodgate and Craig Bellamy would have been bottom of my list, and they've all gone on to do stuff. They were lunatics off the field. So talk us through obviously getting the call up at the back end of your career. Yeah. So and what the connection's like with the lads at Leeds United, and obviously the transition at the national team.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Obviously having them connections here already as good mate. I'm obviously good mates with all 3 of them that go, and I think that's just the fact that we get to do it on an international level as well as play at club level is phenomenal. And being called up late, and my decision to go probably when I did was something that I look at now and think, wow, I'm so glad I took the opportunity to go and play, because the experiences that I've already had within them 2 or 3 years of signing up to play for the national team have been incredible. And it was the main reason that I went, because I didn't want to finish my career and look back and think, you could have played international football, what if? And
did you know that the oldest Welsh debutants since World War II?
Yeah. Good going on that.
He's not that old, like, is he?
Prehistoric, he's older than me. No, that's cool. That's kudos, man.
But even traveling to these countries, and the debut game was just ridiculous because it was a monsoon like throughout the whole game, and it was like puddles everywhere. I think 2-1. We won 2-1
for your debut as well. When you saw the weather, it's a goalkeeper's nightmare.
Honestly, it was the worst it could have been, ever, horrific. But thankfully, did well, and then played at Wembley for them against England. Obviously, playing Belgium home and away, and just big games. Like obviously, you've experienced. They're just different to what club football is, and going away to these hotels and being stuck there for 2 or 3 days is different to when you just fly in and out with a club. So I'm really enjoying it.
How's Craig being like with you?
Fantastic.
I know Bellas is a massive listener at this podcast. You can say what you want.
No, it's funny because he openly admits from saying what he was as a player is completely different to what he is now, and there's probably, I've heard stories as well, like you say.
And 2 weeks ago,
he's doing well though, isn't he? He's playing some good football.
Because I remember I caught up with him after Newcastle had played Burnley when he was there under Vincent Kompany. Mm-hmm. And I saw him after the game, and he just came out and he literally said, I cannot believe the intensity runs that they've produced. Look how much higher the intensity sprints are compared to us. I was like, Bellas, I just want to have a catch up with a coffee, mate.
Obsessed.
Look at this. And he was completely obsessed by the stats and the facts. And I thought, wow, your mindset has completely changed.
Yeah, he's obsessed with it, and what he's got is a great coaching staff around him in terms of what he's brought in. So yeah, it's all set up to be positive, and what he's done so far. I think everyone, like you say, watching the football that we play and how we go about our business is something that I'm incredibly proud to be a part of and to play in.
I think it is just international football. We're talking about being intense and stuff.
It's this way you tell me to sit back and relax.
Yeah, you sit back. Yeah. He never played. No, it just obviously you're there for 10, 12 days, whatever it is. So it is quite intense. You have a lot of information to take on board. You spend time with players that you maybe wouldn't spend time with outside the game. And yeah, fair play till the boys. He's doing really well. And I would love nothing more than a semi-final against Northern Ireland to see who goes. Next week?
Yeah, it's Thursday, Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, you've just dated the podcast.
Yeah,
I just want to go back just quickly. We haven't got long left, but just back till, because I'm sure the people watching or listening will want to know a wee bit about the strikers at this club in terms of finishing, and you face them every day. Who's the best finisher, in your opinion, at the club?
Can I give you my answer before you do?
Yeah, okay, go.
I'm going to go for Joel Peru, because I'll watch him and think he makes all strikes look effortless. He has everything for me as a striker, so I'll leave that one.
Yeah, bang on. Yeah, I think for a goalkeeper, the way he strikes the ball, and like I say, he's a finisher, isn't he? He's a poacher in terms of he gets a chance, he normally scores it, and for me, he'd be the best finisher at the club. Obviously, Anton Stack absolutely smashes the ball as well, so it's. Yeah, you get yourself ready when he's gearing one off. It's kind of like, okay, I know what's coming. It's
interesting. There's a few kids that I've been chatting to and say, "Oh, your strikers in the past who have you looked at?" I always used to look at Robbie Fowler, who was an incredible finisher. He could, he didn't need to be the power shot and just placement and judge, and always aware of what's around him. And I always say about Joel, I say obviously the kids nowadays understand who Joel Peru is.
Yeah.
So if you want to have a look at some goals, go and have a look at his finishing.
Yeah.
Because I think he's got. If you have a look at his highlights reel, it has everything. Whereas you don't need to go for top corner shots all the time. All kids are looking for this FIFA World Cup goal.
Yeah, of course.
Just hit the back of the net. It doesn't matter how it goes in. So I'm pleased we're on the same page with that one.
Yeah, no, you're spot on.
Now,
I never doubted you.
Connection with the Welsh boys. Yeah. Obviously, that helped you settle in here as well as going off. What's it like for that getting to the Premier League? You talked about the inexperience. There was only a few who had experienced the promotion. Did that play a key part for you with having the lads?
Yeah, I think the whole changing room is one of the best changing rooms I've been in terms of what everyone is like, and everyone seems to be so professional and driven in terms of what they want to do. And I think the goals all align as well in terms of, don't get me wrong, we're all different ages, but everyone's still got that. Everyone still wants to be playing in the Premier League. Yeah. That's like everyone's dream anyway. So, it's a good group, and it's a really highly motivated group with a lot of talent in it, and I think that's showing this season.
We obviously can't finish without talking about Elland Road.
Yeah.
He's seen St James's Park, and now he's tasted Elland Road.
He's played at some special clubs, but how special is it really to play here? We know. I mean, it sounds boring because we asked every person this, but it's just interesting to hear it from a different player every week. But yeah, how good is it to play here in front of a full house? Yeah,
it's incredible. I think the noise in terms of what they bring to every game, and obviously we had that great record, especially at night, didn't we, for a long time? And I think the night games are special under the lights when the fans are really going for it, and then going back to the parade that we had last year, just what they bring to the club and how passionate they are around the city is just something that I've not been shocked by, but I think probably taken back about a little bit in terms of how big it is and how much they do for the club in terms of coming in, week out, and even through the championship season, being so vocal and cheering us on in every single game. So yeah.
Had you been here as an opponent before? Yeah, I'd seen it. You'd sampled that as well.
Somebody scored against you, didn't they?
That was COVID, wasn't it? We didn't have anyone in there. That was COVID, wasn't it?
Another plug.
Think it was
Did you get a nod, did you?
I scored in my head. I don't know what I was thinking or what I was doing up that far, but
Yeah, I kept a clean sheet when there's fans in, didn't I?
5-2 that game finished.
Yeah, COVID, wasn't it? There's no one here, mate.
Nah, it's just an amazing experience. Because one of my favourite nights here was when we beat Leicester and I predicted a riot went off.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't me as a player, that was me as a fan, just absolutely loving life.
Yeah, no, there's been so many brilliant games, I think, here recently that you can't, for me, I can't pinpoint one where I'm like, wow, that's the best, because I think there's been so many that we've been, yeah.
And in terms of obviously the connection with the fans now, when I first come to the club, the relationship between the players and the fans themselves, it was a bit fractured at times, and the club have done a lot of good work in recent years and bringing that back together. Obviously, we got promotion and then the club gets relegated again, and it almost felt like there was a little disconnection there again. Now it's back again where it's, you can see the relationship. Just how important to you players is that, having that good relationship?
Yeah, it's massive. I think the stability, like you say, of what's behind the scenes and the relationship almost from owners to the fans can rub off down into what's, like I said, how positive it is almost out there, that if there's a negative effect with the owners, like there was at times here, that can sometimes boil over onto a match day, which then reflects negatively on players and performances. And as a player, you're aware of everything that goes on anyway, aren't you? So I think, like you say, that
creating a good culture.
The culture between the players, the fans, and the owners are here constantly as well, which is brilliant to see. So yeah, it's in a really good place, and
I've seen a massive transformation off the field, as well as the squad with like a no policy since your era with Cooks.
I mean,
since they got him out,
with your
since they got Stuart out.
With your lot. I think you had an amazing culture.
We had no, by the way, for the viewers listening in or watching them, we had no.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. But prior to that, there had been
I
a lot
normally
of
say if there aren't any, you are the one, don't they?
And that's just continuing.
I mean, the
to
club
trend.
deserve a lot of credit for that in terms
absolutely.
of what they do in the community and stuff as well. But I think it's massive to have the fans on board. And at a point in my early years when things weren't going so well, you didn't really want to be in town or anything like that, because you just needed to meet the wrong person and somebody could say something and you just didn't want that. But now it's like, you should embrace going into town and seeing people, and just listen. What you're doing is
he walks around with his shirt on with Dallas 2 goals against Man City. Buy me a coffee.
Definitely don't. But I just think it's good. The people of the city are class. Being in the round is brilliant, and what you're doing on the pitch is obviously huge for that. And it's so good to see.
So basically, we're moving on for 3 years. It was the right move.
Yeah, absolutely.
And your family?
Absolutely. No doubt about it. I think it came at the right time for me as well. I was at Newcastle. I'd been there a long time, and don't get me wrong, I absolutely loved the place and I loved the club. But at the time, I wasn't playing and I was getting no younger, and went out on loan to Hull. Really enjoyed my time at Hull with the intention of, for myself, getting out that summer. Really, that's why I did the loan, because I wanted to leave in the summer, knowing that I wasn't going to be the first choice, I wasn't going to be the second choice, and I didn't want to play the third choice role because I felt like I could give more than that still at this time in my career. So it came at exactly the right time, and thankfully, Leeds United wanted me, and the rest is history.
We're buzzing you here. Before we finish, you've got one more job to do. We always play a game. Have you got any dressing room finds and stuff? Do you do spin the wheel in your dressing room?
Yeah, we've got spin the wheel, yeah.
Oh, we've got spin the wheel here as well. Can you play?
Is it
We'll
good
let
one?
your lovely assistant,
Got
Miss
numbers
Dallas.
on
She's looking well.
Miss Dallas.
She's looking well today.
So,
Give this a good
give it a spin, and I'll have a look at see what you give us your number.
Give my number.
Give us a number.
One.
Number
Obviously.
one.
Of course, obviously.
That's quality.
It's not a setup,
Pre-planned.
that, by the way.
Number one.
Number one.
Right.
But yeah.
If you could teleport anywhere for 24 hours, where would you go?
To the moon.
To the moon. Why?
Just experience it, mate. It's somewhere I've always wanted to be.
There was a player, Stefan Schwartz, I think, paid like 100,000 back in the day when he was at Sunderland Football Club to be on one of the first. You could buy like a ticket to the moon or something. I'm telling you.
There you go. That's my answer.
There you go.
happy with that.
So you'd like to go to the moon, would you?
Yeah, I'd love to, yeah.
Well, on that note, you can leave. Get yourself out the door. Good luck for the rest of the season. Karl Darlow, thank you for joining us on the official Leeds United podcast, mate. Top man.
Thanks very much.
Man.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Karl.